Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to drive them out, to cure every disease, every illness. The names of the 12 apostles are these. First, Simon called Peter, his brother Andrew. James, the son of Zebedee, and his brother John. Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew, the tax collector. James, the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus. Simon the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed Jesus. Jesus sent out these 12 after instructing them thus: do not go into pagan territory or enter a Samaritan town. Go rather to the lost sheep, the house of Israel. As you go, make this proclamation: the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ. Today we continue reading through the prophet Hosea, and one of the things that was a theme in the readings this morning is the temptation to worldliness. The temptation to worldliness. When Israel was taken over by the kingdom of Assyria, the king who was reigning in Israel just before they were taken over was a man named Jeroboam II. And basically, in those days of Israel, they had the most thriving economy, right, that they had in their whole history. It seemed like everything was thriving on all cylinders. But of course, the more prosperous the nation became, the more tempted they became to worldliness and to idolatry. Hosea says that the more productive the land became, the more sacred pillars people set up, right? As in pillars to false gods. Also, it talks about how Israel said that they have no king. It's a referral back to the days of Samuel, when the people asked to be like every other nation. God wanted to be the king of Israel, but the people wanted an earthly king to be their protector instead of relying on God. Even the analogy that is made at the end of the reading today: sow for yourselves justice, reap the fruit of piety, break up for yourselves a new field. That's a reference to the fact that in those days, in a way that's similar to our day and age, that agriculture was a big part of the economy there in Israel. And that the people had stopped observing the Sabbath and other liturgical feasts because they were too busy working on their farms and their shops and everywhere else. So these words from Hosea are obviously very relevant to us here in the modern United States. Right? The temptation of a thriving culture and economy and luxury, right, is always the temptation to worldliness. And to forget that our obedience is owed not primarily to our circumstances, but is to God alone. And it's always a temptation, the more prosperous a culture becomes, to neglect their need for God and to start making all sorts of compromises. The fact that so many Catholics miss Mass because of sports or because of competitions or because of work is just another example that we don't put God in the first place we were supposed to.